All this ZX10 Masters Cup action is proudly brought to you by Red Square for ultimate activation. Welcome to a very cold Zwartkops Raceway out in Pretoria. It's round 7 time of the Red Square ZX10 Masters Cup. And as you can see, the riders are getting themselves ready and prepped to head out on track to do battle once again. The championship is oh so tight out front between Sven Gruner and Graham from Idar. Gareth Bazadinot, one of his favourite tracks and looks to be on the pace, along with Zwartkops, and a welcome return to Brian Bontequin and Teddy Brooks, Sanjeev Singh. And just looking in the pit lane, there's Stewie Russell back out on track. Great to have him.
I was away for a while. I had a hip and a knee replacement. Making a little comeback now. A bit slow off the pace, but get in there.
Also returning to the series is Sanjeev Singh.
It's certainly good to be back racing in the ZX10 Cup. The last couple of races clashed with some other racing at Desi, which I was doing with my son, so we were out there having some fun. But it's super good to be back at the ZX10 Cup. Quali was good, so I'm happy to start in the second row, and let's go racing from there. Let's hope the weather holds up. But yeah, 2 races to go this afternoon, looking forward to it. I must thank Red Square, Kawasaki and Bridgestone, and especially my personal sponsors Design It and Double Apex. Thanks guys.
As the riders fit those Bridgestone tyres, join us after the break for Race 1 action. Welcome back to a windy and cold Zwartkops Raceway, but that has not deterred the crowd who have come out in their numbers to enjoy more extreme festival of motorsport action. And to help celebrate Women's Month, roses were being handed out to all the ladies around the circuit. It's a great family atmosphere as always. Got our future champions in the house. Great to have Team Habashwe about to get ready and go out on track. You can see the riders just getting their minds and bodies ready for what is going to be another epic race meeting here at Zwartkops Raceway. Ian Hardwood, the Bridgestone man, getting himself sorted. The Bridgestone tyres are fitted. It's time to go racing. Let's go through the qualifying then. Out front was Sven Gruner, Graham from Idar, Gareth Bazadinot and Zwartkops, and Dave Peterson joining me. Looks very close out there.
It certainly does. Brian Bontequin, Sanjeev Singh, Teddy Brooks just behind him.
John Ticollard, Peter de Vos, Panna Ganapathy and Ian Hardwood.
Then Andre van Volstein, Rodney McLaughlin, Stewie Russell and Jacques Ackerman.
Guy Didcott, Fellow Siete, Safiso Temba and Ruan Olberhauser.
Good 20 bikes on the grid as we see last year's champion Graham from Idar lining up for race 1. He's going to have his work cut out today to beat Sven Gruner. Brian Bontequin in the house, as is Teddy Brooks. This is one of his favourite circuits.
There we go. John Ticollard's got on the podium last time out and down in PE, a wet and wild PE. Looks like the clouds are starting to come here, so the racing is about to get underway. Jacques Ackerman all the way from Cape Town there on his Mad Max Kawasaki. Ooh, the lights being a little bit delayed here. You can see the wind pumping. Look at those flags just flying. A brilliant start from pole position then for Sven Gruner, who really knows. He comes into this ride leading the championship. Graham from Idar shoves it on the inside. So our 2 contenders at the lead of this championship. Gareth Bazadinot, much better start there, up into 3rd place.
Sven Gruner had his legs stuck out going into turn 1. Wow, that was crazy. All around the outside, a lot of the guys, that's Pielo Siete having the big wide line. But out front, looks like Sven Grunner and Graham van der Merwe once again resume battle.
Jaco Koos not too far behind. Brian Bontekonen with another customary brilliant start there. Sven Grunner looks up the inside, can't make it stick. A look at Brian Bontekonen on the inside of Peter de Vos, running a little bit further behind than we expect to see Peter de Vos. So watch out for that man. Bike number 17 with the white frame to come through the field as we go on the top of the hill now, on board with Brian Bontekonen. Trying to make moves on the inside. Jacobs, Peter de Vos. Look how close they're getting. And this is only 3-4 corners in.
This is going to be very interesting for that dice. That's for 4th, 5th, 6th position. Just behind them, we got Collard, Michael Smith, Apana Ganapathy, and Andre van Vollensie, a great start as well.
And Stewie Russell, after hip, knee, everything replaced on that bike, a fuel gas catering bike a little bit further down, running in the top 15. So brilliant ride there for the returning Stewie Russell. But out front, Graham van der Merwe does look like he's extending that lead. Leg out, MotoGP style there. Gareth Bazano. This is the Gareth Bazano that we've been waiting to see all season long. Just hasn't been on the pace.
Take a look at Sven Grunner now. He's wide on the gas. This is the farthest part of the track. And Sven Grunner will duck down the other one. Oh, bit of head shake as they come into that fast corner. Van der Merwe swoops around the outside.
Yeah, a little tight line there. He's going to sacrifice drive going up the hill now for Sven Grunner. Oh, look at on the edge of that Bridgestone tyre and still getting the grip there. Van der Merwe is out front. He'll get his pit board telling him that it is P0. You can all know that Sven Grunner is right on his tail, and that is who he needs to beat if he wants to leave Zwartkops round number 7 with that championship lead.
It'll be interesting to see what lap time comes out on this lap, because they have definitely pulled a little bit out on Gareth Bazano. So our 2 leaders are lapping at just about lap record pace. We'll look at the timekeepers as they go straight past that start-finish area. 1 minute 4. They're into the 1 minute 4 straight away. This is a fast pace.
This really is a fast pace, and Gareth Bazano doing a brilliant job to cling on to our 2 leaders out front. Sven Grunner was suffering a little bit with brake fade in the qualifying sessions. Looks like he's maybe sorted it out, just taking it easy, getting the brakes up to temperature, and now looks like he's starting to attack from the out front.
I've got to say, it's a great ride from Gareth Bazano. Jaco Koos behind him, fucking no man's land, and through he goes. Sven Grunner has hit the front.
Brilliant move there on the inside, turn 4. He's kind of had a dress rehearsal the last couple of laps for that move. So now it's up to Graham van der Merwe. Does he have an answer for our current championship leader who wants that number 1 plate back? Gareth Bazano is closing that gap all the meantime. So van der Merwe has got to be careful here, because the last thing he'll want is to be past Jonty Collard at the top of the hill ahead of Jaco Koos. But he runs wide. Is he going to get it stopped? Oh, Jonty Collard, a big mistake, fighting for that top 4 position, and he's run off.
Jonty has shown his pace in the last couple of races. What a pity there. We're on board with Sanjeev as he flicks it down the hill. Nice and tight through the left. Hold it and then right down there into second gear. Hard on the brakes just behind Teddy Brook.
Yeah, that's a very good battle going on there between Teddy Brook, Sanjeev Singh, Peter de Vos. Jonty Collard's now got to recover and try and get himself up into a top 10. Michael Schmidt, Apana Ganapathy right there as we go on board with Brian Bontekonen in that big dice now for 4th, 5th and 6th place.
Listen to that Kawasaki scream to the line. Down into turn 2, he takes the inside line. Brian's not scared to take the tight lines. Runs a little bit wide. Nobody's got it covered. Listen to this bike scream.
And you can hear on his lap timer there, he's already going faster. You see the minus 0.007. That means he's on a faster lap. So Brian Bontekonen clearly got everything sorted on that bike. Here comes Ian Hardwood on the inside of fellow Siete, not able to make the move. And like we said all season long, Ian Hardwood, he stands out like a sore thumb with those bright berry leathers. As we go on board with him, just listen to that ZX10 scream.
You got your sunglasses on, Rob, as we look at those leathers. Just ahead of them, leading that group, by the way, is Stewie Russell. Apparently they're going to protest him because the titanium knee weighs less than a normal knee. So he might be underweight.
He's going to be underweight with all those pieces of titanium in the body. Jacques Ackerman all the way from Cape Town. He's improved as the season has gone on at the top of the hill. Bang it down to second gear, and it's really a tough section of the track. You've got to square the bike off, get the drive, and then follows another right-hander. First of the left-handers for a while, so you've got to watch that front end not tucking, and then into the final turn.
Trying to close in there on Rodney McLaughlin, who, don't forget, lent his bike to Graham van der Merwe for a couple of the races. Here is Stewie Russell on 83 as they come through the final turn with Rodney McLaughlin. Jacques Ackerman just behind them. Then it's Ian Hardwood. Looks like he's got the better of Guy Ditcott and Pielo Sete.
Yeah, great return there for Guy Ditcott. Hasn't been around for a while now due to work commitments, but really right up in the mix. We saw a great shot of Apana Ganapathy. This is the battle now for 4th, 5th, 6th, down to 7th place, Oliver. Jaco Koos, Brian Bontekonen, Teddy Brook and Sanjeev Singh as we go on board with Sanjeev at the top of the hill. Are we going to see a move on the inside? Oh, he's run a little bit wide there. Yes, there is a bike on the inside. It does look like Brian Bontekonen. So Bontekonen now picks off another one. That's 6th place, and he's closing down, hopefully, potentially going for that 4th just ahead of Jaco Koos.
Brian has passed a rider virtually every lap of this race so far.
Back out front now, and Graham from Idar has just crossed the line and put in his fastest lap of the race, a 1:04.489. And you can see he's closed that gap now to Sven Gruner, who's going very defensive now in the final stages of this race. So maybe those brake fade problems just starting to hamper Sven Gruner out front there now. And he's trying to get that bike turned in. But Graham from Idar can sniff and smell blood, and he's chasing down that red ZX10 out front.
And don't forget, it's all the points at the moment, because this championship is tight at the top of the table. 1 point in it right now. So Sven Gruner, they're on the last lap of this race. All he has to do is keep this together. Van der Merwe runs just a little bit wide. Gruner squirts the throttle. Up onto the shelf he goes, and down into second gear.
Oh, look at him fighting the front end of that ZX10 to get it stopped. And I don't think Van der Merwe is close enough now. So Sven Gruner on the final lap here, he hits that apex beautifully. No brake fade there. Graham van der Merwe, he's going to be kicking himself because he was leading this race. He allowed Sven Gruner to get ahead and pull out that gap. Oh, Sven Gruner aquaplaning into the final turn, just trying to close that line, but he will come across the line and he will pick up the race 1 victory ahead of Van der Merwe. That is massive for the championship. But who is going to finish in that 4th place?
This is the big guys going. Jaco Goosen with Brian Bonnekoning all over him like a rash. Bonnekoning has passed somebody every single lap of this race so far. Is he going to do it on the last turn? No. Jaco Goosen takes the tight line. The May bike just behind him will pick up the 4th place.
Now there we go, Gareth Bazananote with a brilliant podium. Great to see him back on there. But it is Sven Gruner out front. Graham from Idar, Gareth Bazananote, Jaco Goosen, Brian Bonnekoning, Teddy Brook, Sanjeev Singh and Peter de Vos. Let's catch up with the man then that had the busiest race. It's Brian Bonnekoning.
Today was quite a challenge, I must say. They're really making me work for my points today. So anyway, we got bumped a bit wide in turn 1 and let half the field through, and we had to chase and pass and chase and pass, and got bumped in turn 5 again and did the same over again. So yeah, I've done my work. I'm going to have to rest for an hour till the next race.
A welcome return to the podium for Gareth Bazananote.
Yeah, it's good to be back after a blind engine. I had to miss PE unfortunately, so lost out a bit there, but it's a nice welcome return to be back in 3rd position. Race was quite tough. For the first few laps I managed to keep Graham and Sven in sight, but midway through the race I started struggling quite badly with arm pump. I saw I had a bit of a gap behind me, so I just tapped off a little bit. Yeah, all in all it was a decent race. I hit a false neutral on the last lap coming into the tabletop, but luckily enough I had a big enough gap to still hold the 3rd position. And yeah, it's great to be back, and thanks to all the sponsors, Red Square, Kawasaki South Africa, Bridgestone, Mark, Tracy, Johan the Net. Another great race day, and just hope the rain keeps away for the second one.
Join us after the break for race 2 action of the Red Square Kawasaki ZX10 Masters Cup. Hello and welcome back to Zwartkops Raceway for round 7 action of the Red Square ZX10 Masters Cup. What an epic race 1 battle we had, and we're up for the same here now in race number 2. Sven Gruner has a slight advantage going into the final 2 rounds of the season ahead of Graham from Idar, your last year's champion. Great to have Gareth Bazananote right back in the mix, and Brian Bonnekoning, who we spoke of. Let's hope that he's had that rest and he's ready to do battle now in race number 2. See, the families are out in full force as usual. The energy drinks are ready to be taken. Bridgestone tyres fitted. We're about to do battle now for the second time of asking today. See, Sven Gruner just sorting out those brake issues that he had in race number 1. So can we expect even faster times from the man who's chasing that number 1 plate?
A friendly bunch of guys, and if you ever want to go racing amongst friends, this is the category to do it in. But it is ever so competitive. Let's go racing.
Rolling up to the grid then for race number 2. Sven Gruner on pole position. Graham from Idar in 2nd place. He knows that he's got to now. It's getting to that critical stage that he's got to start beating Sven Gruner and taking championship points off him. He needs the likes of Brian Bonnekoning and Gareth Bazananote, Jaco Goosen to also be right in the mix there to take points off the man on bike number 66 out front. They line up on the grid then. We'll wait for the starters' orders, and then it's time to go racing. Lights are on, lights will go off. Another brilliant start there from Sven Gruner off pole position. Graham van Middahl on the inside. That is the preferred line. Will he shove it on the inside? Yes, he does. Graham van Middahl, almost carbon copy of race number 1, slots that Kawasaki of his on the inside and leads this race. Gareth Bezuidenhout, Brian Bontekonen with a much better start, already challenging for that third position. Yeah, Brian Bontekonen made the most moves you will ever see in a race in race number 1. It looks like he's got his rest that he needed and right up in the mix in race 2.
Rob, they'll have to be careful. 10 laps of racing, cold temperatures does mean tearing up of tyres. As we know, that can happen around this track. So a little bit of tyre conservation might be wise here.
Yeah, especially if you've got that tyre pressure wrong. It really can make such a big difference. 0.1, 0.2 of a PSI makes a massive difference in the handling and how your tyre handles out on track. Graham van Middahl getting the grip he wants from those Bridgestone tyres at the moment. Gareth Bezuidenhout, the biggest loser at the moment. He's dropped down to about 4th or 5th place there. That is the battle once again. Peter de Vos, Jonty Collard had the pace in race number 1, but I think also suffered a little bit with brake fade, so look for him to come steaming through the field.
Great mid-pack dice, as we always see in the Red Square ZX10 Masters Cup. Jonty Collard leads that dash at the moment. Right behind him, Peter de Vos. In their company, they've also got a Panna Ganapati having a great ride. Andre van Vollensteer, good start from him in 12th.
Now, Graham van Middahl, you could see out front, he is pushing so hard. He's got the front end of that Kawasaki dial. Father Les has done a brilliant job to give him a good bike, and he's trying to extend his lead now over Sven Gruner. And this man in 3rd place, Brian Bontekonen, and look at him carrying the momentum through the right hand of the red light flashing on his dash. That tells him he's on a personal best fast lap.
Bontekonen, he's holding him off right now. Gareth Bezuidenhout is looking at Brian saying, now, how am I going to pass this guy? Because don't forget, through the turns 3 and 4, Brian takes that very strange inside line. Very difficult to overtake in that situation, as we see at the top of the hill here.
And Brian is the king of just jamming that gas on, trusting the traction control that is on that ZX10. And Gareth Bezuidenhout, like you said, he's got his work cut out, because if there's one man that is the most difficult to pass in any form of motorcycle racing in South Africa, it's Brian Bontekonen.
I did pass him once at the Baffontein Grand Prix, I think, but I did run off into the melee straight afterwards.
That's the thing. I passed him once in the queue, waiting for my hot dog here in the line. That was about it.
It is Graham van Middahl. Bike number 1, Stefan Rudy Stocks. Kawasaki leads this race. On his tail, though, is championship contender Sven Gruner, and he runs up the inside. Van Middahl, big late apex. That's good for the drive coming out. He knows what he's doing now. Graham van Middahl is doing what he has to do. Big sweeping lines.
Yeah, he's got to try and get that drive and just hold off the challenge now coming from Sven Gruner, who's obviously comfortable with the feel that he's got now out of the brakes. He goes on the inside. That's where he made the move in race number 1. Van Middahl needs to close that gap a little bit more, though. He's leaving a massive, a little bit of a moment there. Like you said, yeah, the tyres maybe starting to play up. The top of the hill, Sven Gruner saw the mistake, and he's taken full advantage and up in the front now.
Does he run wide?
Van Middahl's got to fight back now. He has no other choice but to fight back.
Sven Gruner thought he might just run wide. He managed to stay on it. Now he flicks it on the left-hand side of the tyre. Got to be a little bit careful here. That part of the tyre is a little bit cooler at the moment. Come down to that final turn. Look at the bike weaving under the brakes. Graham van Middahl knows that he's got to beat him in this race to keep that championship alive.
Yeah, identical lap times for both riders last time out as we go on board with Sanjeev. On the inside. Peter de Vos just up the inside. And look at the brilliant drive that Peter de Vos is getting. So there's a man on the charge at the moment. Didn't get the start he wanted. But a little bit further up, you can see the likes of Jaco Kroos in that battle for 5th place.
Just behind them is Jonty Collard. He's closed up. Just looking at the lap time. There it is. Collard's closed up just a little bit on them as well. Bringing with him Michael Smith and Teddy Brook. Great ride from Teddy as well.
Look a little bit further back. Oh, Guy Didcott just shoving it on the inside of fellow Sieta there. So Guy Didcott, a welcome return to him, and he's certainly hasn't lost that racing bug with that big maneuver going into turn 2 as we go on board now with Jacques Ackerman. Listen to that bike screaming flat out in 5th gear, bang it down to 4th. Some guys prefer 3rd gear to carry the drive all the way up the hill, but what a ride this is from Jacques Ackerman. At the beginning of the year, couldn't buy a top 15. Now he's in that battle for that top 10.
Now that's a great ride from him. On board here with Ian Harwood as well. Ian's lost a few seconds. I think he might have made a mistake somewhere. It looks like Ian James, otherwise known as Hardwood, has made a mistake somewhere out on the track.
Yeah, it's a pity because he's lost that place now with that big battle that he's got there with Stewie Russell, Ruan Alberhauser. So Ian Hardwood's got some work to do if he wants to get up into that top 15, 16, potentially grab the final championship point there. You can see further out front here, Sanjeev Singh is still in a massive battle there with Jonty Collard, and just behind them, it does look like Michael Schmidt. What an improved ride here. Obviously turned some spinners and made a move. Jonty Collard on the inside. Sanjeev Singh squares it up. Classic Zwartkops turn 2 move. On the inside, runs a little bit wide. Sanjeev Singh takes full advantage.
He saw him coming from last Tuesday when he did that move. So he let him come through, knowing full well, get the drive, come out of the turn. Bonderkoning on the tight line. Right behind him is Gareth Besaidnout. Is Gareth looking for a way past the top of the hill? But we're concentrating on the leader right now. Sven Gruner's run wide.
Sven Gruner is suffering.
Problems.
Definitely, that brake problems are coming back to haunt him now. From Midar is closing that gap at the top of the hill. Sven Gruner did well to hold on to that because he could have lost the lead. And From Midar now can sniff a chance at winning this race. Let's have a look now at their battle for third. Did Gareth Besaidnout make it? No. Still Brian Bonderkoning, but here comes Jaco Koos. I think Bonderkoning is squaring those corners off, holding up the lap times just a little bit. That's allowing Jaco Koos to come in that battle for the final podium.
Apana Ganapathy, we've got an overtake going on right there. Rodney McLaughlin, he's involved with Jacques Ackerman. You can see Jacques running up on the inside. Now McLaughlin squares off the corner. Down the main straight he goes, but he loses out on the horsepower stakes.
Yeah, Jacques Ackerman got the drive that he needed out of the second gear of that bike. See, turn 1, one of the scariest corners in South African motorsport. Here comes Rodney McLaughlin going into turn 2 on the inside. It's going very tight there. Oh, you can see the wide sweeping line just chops the nose off there. So Ackerman is starting to make headway in this race and pull his way through the field. Look at this further back. Ruan Olberhausen, Fellow Sieta, Sifiso Temba, Ian Hardwick, Stewie Russell and Guy Ditcott all vying for that final 15th position.
It is great stuff all the way through the field. Here we have Graham from Badar. He's waiting for brake problems. We've got a lap to go in this race. Is it going to be too little, too late? Late on the brakes, does he hold it? Yes, he does this time around. Sven Gruner, little bit wide coming out of there, but I think he's got this one covered again.
Yeah.
25 points could be in the bag here, but we've still got 2 turns to go in this race.
I think you're right. It is closing up. From Badar is closing, but I don't think he's going to be close enough. I think Sven's going to go very defensive. You can see how he aquaplanes the bike just to put Graham from Badar off, but it's going to be a double win on the day and maintain that championship lead going into the final 2 rounds for Sven Gruner. Here's that battle for third place. Brian Bonderkoning still holding off. Gareth Besaidnout, Jaco Koos right in the mix now, but it does look like Brian Bonderkoning is going to go one better and on the final step of the podium.
Oh, they will not be speaking to each other after the race. They hate each other, these people. Only joking, of course. They're all good mates and they're going to be loving life. Sven Gruner, Graham from Midar, Brian Bonderkoning, Gareth Besaidnout, Jaco Koos, Peter De Vos, Jonty Collard and Sanjeev Singh. Your top 8.
Brilliant right there. Let's have a look at the championship now. How close do you like it? 21 points in the mix going into the final 2 rounds. Sven Gruner ahead of Graham from Midar. Jaco Koos heads out Class B and Peter De Vos, your Class C leader. Rider of the day goes to Brian Bonderkoning.
Well, you heard my first episode. Second episode was a lot better. I didn't get held up. I didn't have any bumping. I just rode round and round all on my own and didn't fall on my head and didn't make too many mistakes. So I was kind of happy.
Just kind of happy?
Yeah, well, it's good. You know, at my age, to get to the finish line is like an achievement. So it's a good thing. It's a good thing it worked out the way it did.
Overall winner for the day, it's Sven Gruner.
Look, that's all I needed to do for this round. Going to Cape Town, Graham's pretty strong in Cape Town. It's one of my weaker tracks. I've never been able to set the bike up for there. So yeah, I needed to get this double win, yeah. First race I lost brakes, so I had to manage 3 or 4 laps just to check that I've got brakes towards to make the whole race. And yeah, the second race I made a big mistake in 2.5 and closed up there. But going over the line with 0.3 or 0.5 or 5 seconds, it doesn't really matter as long as I get the win. And yeah, I'm happy with that. And now Cape Town, and hopefully I can defend to Graham there.
Have a look at your TRP podium then. Join us for the penultimate round of the 2018 Red Square ZX10 Masters Cup down at Killarney Racetrack in Cape Town on the 22nd of September. All this ZX10 Masters Cup action is proudly brought to you by Red Square for ultimate activation.